Before we get to the date command, we'll just go over some fundamental concepts of date and time. The way in which a date and time is specified, it's called its format. Let's look at some basic conversational statements that include date and time. The first one is, I'll see you next Monday, but which Monday? Depends on what time this line was spoken, isn't it? The next one is, let's meet on September 12, 2025 at 23:40. Now this one is more specific. Let's see the next one now. I was born on 97 August 4, 5:20 a.m. This one is quite similar to statement number 2, correct? Look more closely. There are some subtle differences. In statement number 2, the month September is spelled out in full, whereas in statement number 3, August is abbreviated to AUG. Also, notice the difference in the representation of the year. In statement number 3, the year is represented using 2 digits only instead of the complete 4 digits. Let's see another one. I have a conference in Tokyo on 2025 August 4th at 4 p.m. and that's in Japan Standard Time. One obvious difference here is that the time zone is specified. In all the other statements, some assumption has to be made about the time zone. Is this it? Do you notice any other difference? Notice that in statement number 3, the date is specified using 2 digits prefixed with a 0 where required. So in statement number 3, August 4 has the 04 in a 2-digit format. But in statement number 4, the date is not prefixed with a 0. So it's not a 04 here, it's simply a 4. So the point here is that you have tens or probably hundreds of permutations and combinations of date formats. The Unix date command is a very versatile command. It takes into consideration all the subtle variations which we saw now and gives you a great deal of power and flexibility. Let's go back to our terminal. To start with, let's simply run the date command alone. The date on the system clock will be shown in the default format, which is the day of the week followed by the month, followed by the date, followed by hour, minutes, seconds, the time zone and the year. Note that even though the command is called date, it shows you time related data as well. So is there a time command that can show you time related data? Well, the answer is yes and no. There is a command called time, but it is used for an entirely different purpose. It is used to capture the process time and has nothing to do with the system clock time. So for this session on date and time, we are only going to deal with the date command. Okay, so let's look at the date format here. What if I am only interested in the year? Then I can invoke the date command by typing date space plus %y in double quotes, and that's an uppercase Y. The plus indicates that what follows is the date format. The format needs to be enclosed in double quotes. How did we know that year is represented by %y? To answer that, let's see the man page for date. Let's scroll down a page by pressing F key. Here's the section on format. You can find a list of format specifiers here. All of them begin with a % character. Let's scroll down again. You can find all kinds of format specifiers here. It's a huge list. Let's scroll again. Notice now the specifier for year. This is where we got the %y from. Now what if I want the month and year in my date output? We know that %y is year, so what we need is the specifier for month. Let's scroll back by pressing the B key. There it is, %m for month. Notice that it is a lowercase m. Uppercase M would mean something else. It stands for minutes. So let's quit man by pressing the Q key. Let's type in date space plus and in double quotes percentage lowercase m space percentage uppercase y. 05/2019, but that's not what I wanted. I wanted to be displayed as May, M-A-Y, instead of the 05. So let's go back to the man page, scroll down, notice the %B uppercase. This is the format specifier for the month spelled out in full. So that's what we want. Let's quit man now. Let's type in date space plus in double quotes percentage uppercase B space percentage uppercase Y. Yep, that's exactly the format that I wanted. Let's enter the date command alone next. The time zone by default is UTC. UTC stands for Coordinated Universal Time Zone, also known as GMT or Greenwich Mean Time in some English-speaking countries. What if you want your local time, or let's say you want the local time in Tokyo, Japan? In order to do that, we need to prefix the time zone to the date command. So let's type TZ equals Asia/Tokyo space date. Notice that this time is different from UTC. This is the local time right now in Tokyo, Japan. What are all the time zone strings that are supported? To know that, just cd to user share zone info ls. The ones highlighted in blue are the directories. Let's take Asia and drill down further. Here you can see a listing of all supported cities in Asia. So if you wanted the local time in, say, Singapore, the time zone string that we need to use is Asia/Singapore. Let's try that. And that's the local time in Singapore as of this very moment. Let's clear the screen now. Let's explore another interesting feature of the date command now. Assume you sign up for a new diet plan today, and the plan is a 20-day plan. You want to know the day that your diet plan is going to end. Let me try to get that using my Windows date and time. I'll click on the clock in the bottom right of my Windows taskbar. Today is May 18th, so if I start counting ahead, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So June 7th would be the end date of my diet plan. Let's try the same thing on Linux now using our date command. Let's go back to our terminal. We'll use the -d option this time. Date space -d space 20 space days in double quotes. June 7th. Compare how we did it in Windows and how we did it in Linux. Which one do you think is better? Let's try another one now. Date space -d space 3 months ago. If you include the word ago, it will count backwards instead of counting ahead. Now, these features might not look that useful if you look at it per se. The real power is realized when you combine this, or rather pipe this, with other commands. For example, you might be writing a shell script for a batch job which processes files that got created in the last 10 days. The date command could prove very handy in this situation. These are just a few of the features of the date command. I will encourage you to browse through the man pages for date and come up with other interesting ways in which you can use it. This is a good example of the power of the command line. Next, we'll see the calendar command.